Is your email inbox overflowing with privacy updates? Well, it's because of a new data protection law.
Ooh, Stan Prager is here today to tell us about these updates and what they mean. Welcome, Stan. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy
And
Friday.
right back at you. So what does GDPR mean?
Don't you love that? What a great term. It's General Data Protection Regulations.
That's what I thought.
But, you know, neither the acronym nor the actual term are really important. What's important is what it means for you, okay? So if you wondered why, you're suddenly getting all these privacy updates from everybody, and every web page you go through, there's a pop-up asking you about that.
Every time I log in, it's a new one.
It's because today, this GDPR regulations went into effect in the European Union. Now, it's the most sweeping privacy protection that's ever been issued anywhere before.
Here's my question. We're not in the European Union.
You know,
but because the internet is ubiquitous, is that why it's just the same policy for everyone now?
I so love that word ubiquitous. And so
It's the
really
first time I've used it on air,
It's
actually. And thank you for providing the opportunity.
But that's a wonderful way to frame it. Many people would say it's borderless is another way of putting it.
Yeah.
But basically, this is light years ahead of anything that we're doing in the United States in the way of regulation. And that may not be surprising, but that's the case. But the big thing is that because the big companies especially are operating on multinational platforms, right? Facebook, Twitter, Google, most of them, you pretty much, if you want to really, operate on the internet, you're going to have to comply with this, right? And there are fines, there's some heavy fines for not complying. So essentially everybody, virtually everyone has issued new privacy updates in order to comply with this. Now, in the past, when I received the privacy update, typically what I did was just hit accept and move on. Because in most cases, you have the option of either accepting these or not using the service.
Exactly. Which is not much of a choice.
Not much of a choice. The key component of this law is two things. One is they can't collect your data or share it without your permission. And number two, they can only collect the data that they need to make it essential to the service. So a good example, kind of a simple one, is imagine you're a company that's selling birthday cakes. You don't need to collect any more data from you than Chris Pisano in order to write your name on the cake, right? I don't need to know your social security number or your mother's maiden name or your address or any of these other things. But in the past, people try to get as much data as they want.
Because they could sell it?
Right. Or, whatever. They're going to use it for advertising purposes. They could use it for a bunch of different purposes behind the scenes. I mean, we could really talk about this for an hour, and I think we probably have 3 minutes. So,
You're right.
So I'll try to condense it as much as possible. But essentially, the key is you're going to, in the past, whereas you would just say accept and move on, now you want to actually read these because you may have opportunities to control your data that you're sharing and the data that they're collecting. The biggest example I would give, and the one that most people are familiar with, would be Facebook. So Facebook now has two things. One is a privacy check, which allows you to go through step by step. It shows you what they're collecting, who you're sharing it with. And then the other one is ads, where you could actually opt out of sharing certain information.
That's fantastic.
That's the most important one.
Is this because of Facebook?
Facebook, I think, is the one that kind of launched the whole concern more than anything else. But the European Union decided to put some teeth into the whole thing.
It'll be interesting how it works.
It will be interesting to see how it works.
So it would be worth our time then to not just click out of the pop-up, but read it and then
decide how you want to go forward.
Amend your privacy settings
I think
accordingly.
Facebook is probably the most important one for you because how many times do you get ads for things that show up in Facebook? You may not mind, but on the other hand, maybe you do mind. So this gives you an opportunity to go in there and see what advertisers are seeing your data, and do you want your demographic to be shared? I mean, that's the important thing. So I would say take the time.
Good information. Thanks, Stan.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Happy holiday weekend, Memorial Day weekend. When we return.